And then when it's, you just hit the,
Yeah.
and then that's it, I'll leave it.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
All right, well, we got 17 in this class. The last class we had 45, so a little bit smaller, so we should have a little bit more interaction. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe Maltese. I am the RMO from post 372 in Mandarin, which is southern part of Jacksonville. How many people know what RMO is? Nobody? How about DMO? RMO is a ride member only. However, I have been the commander for 4 years at the post, commander for 3 years at the Sons, director for 4 years at the Riders. So and the district chairman for 2 years. So I mean, I've been in a few leadership positions. But today, what we're going to talk about is why leadership is important, what it is, what makes a good leader. You sign it. And see if you all have some ideas on how leadership can advance you into your chosen positions. So first off, how many people were in this class last year? 4? Okay. How many people are in a leadership position in the chapter right now? How many people are getting ready to go into a leadership position in the chapter? Nobody. Okay, so this is people that are already in the position. That's great. All right. So welcome to the first day of the 10th year of the American Legion Riders Summit in Florida. It's pretty amazing. We've been doing this for 10 years. Most other states don't have anything like it. As a matter of fact, other states come and visit us to see what the summit's all about. Why do we have a summit? How many people have been to a convention? State convention? Fall conference? Okay. So you go to those, and they have maybe 1, possibly 2, and if you're in like a district position, maybe 3 meetings out of 4 or 5 days of the convention that has to do with the riders, and the rest is about a whole bunch of other stuff. So back when Jim Ramos was the commander, 10 years ago, he and Jim Day and Jennifer Day created the first American Legion Riders Summit, which was made totally so that we could do something specifically for riders. And that's why all of your training and everything that you're going through here has been rider focused. Okay? All right. So, I'm going to start off today, and by the way, I've done this enough to where if you have questions in the middle, don't wait till the end, just butt right in. We're not going to throw you off track, okay? All right, so class today we're going to figure out what leadership is and why it's important. We're going to find the qualities of a great leader, and maybe not so great leader. We're going to prepare you for participation in leadership roles in your chapters, and we're going to review the hierarchy of the leadership in the Department of Florida all the way down to the chapter level. Okay? We got any questions? Let's go around the room. Tell me what a leader is, what leadership is all about. Anybody? Come on, wake up. Guidance, okay? Good one. Yes? Say it a little bit louder. I don't hear very well. Yes, influence a group to achieve common goals. Good one. Mentorship. Yeah, very good. What else? Motivation. Certainly. What else? Come on. Anything else? Direction. Okay. Good. All good stuff, right? All right. So leadership, we've decided, is a way to maybe motivate, direct, and get people headed towards a common goal, right? Okay. So, let's see how we did it. Leadership refers to an action, okay? So, if you just let things sit around and do what they're doing, we call that status quo. Do you need a leader for that? What's going to happen is going to happen. And if that's all good, let it happen. But lots of times it needs a little direction. Lots of times if it's not all good, we need to correct some things and make sure that it goes the way we want it to go. The action directing a group of people or organization towards a clearly defined mission or goal or result. Okay? Leadership is a process where an individual, a team of individuals influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. And leaders are agents of change. So remember, we talked about status quo. Status quo is fine, doesn't need leaders. But if we need to change something, somebody's going to have to cause that change. And that has to come from someone that's willing to influence. Influence people, influence events, so on and so forth. Managers need to plan, measure, monitor, coordinate, solve. Are managers leaders? I'm sorry? Well, they could be lower level leaders, they could be upper level leaders, we just don't know. It depends on the situation, right? But generally speaking, when we're talking about a manager, we're talking about someone that's dealing with processes and resources. And make no mistake about it. One of your biggest resources is what? Your people, right? Okay? So a manager makes sure that there's the right amount of people for the job, make sure that people are there when they're supposed to be there, make sure that the other resources that are required for the job are obtained and on site when necessary, right? Okay? The leader doesn't necessarily do all that stuff unless the leader is forced to do the job of the leader and the manager. So are leaders managers? They could be, but generally they're someone that helps make the process go forward. Why is leadership important? As Yogi Berra says, we don't know where we're going, but we're making good time. Not necessarily something that we want to kind of leave to chance, right? Okay, so this is how the whole thing breaks down. Leadership is required to create the goal, right? Somebody has to come up with the idea of, this is how things are, this is how they should be, okay? So the person that's going to do that is going to necessarily be the leader, okay? Then the leader keeps the organization or the team focused on the goal, making sure everybody stays driving towards the goal. I'm going to talk about that in just a second as soon as we hit this next one. Leadership assures that all actions are related to the goal and are moving the group forward toward the goal. Okay, what do we mean by that? If you have a group of people working towards a goal, and as you're standing back and watching, you look at each individual's task going towards that goal. And if there's a task in there that's not directly leading to the goal, then that task doesn't belong in that sequence. I'll give you an example. We're going to make up packages for our deployed military. Okay? They're going to be like keep warm stuff, comfort items, toiletries, feminine hygiene products, insecticides, everything that somebody deployed might need, right? And we're going to make these boxes. We're going to do 1,000 of them, okay? So right over here, what's your name, sir? Bruce is sitting over here. He's making boxes. You know, the boxes are all flat. He's making them into boxes. Is that an essential job?
Yes.
Absolutely. What's your name, dear? Carmen. So Carmen is out. As soon as I looked at you, oh, that's Pittsburgh. That's Carmen. Okay. So Carmen is out scavenging the community, scouring the community, whatever, looking through the community for donations to put the stuff we need in these boxes. Is that an essential task? Yeah. Okay. Joe Schmuckatali's over here dusting the boxes off after he makes them. Is that an essential job?
No.
So before you, I'm sorry? Yeah. So even if they've been sitting there a long time and you dust them off, they're going to get dusty again, right? You transit. So this is how you evaluate this. I'm looking at my job and I say, okay, if I take that job away, Joe Schmuckatali dusting, if I take that job away, is the goal still going to get accomplished?
Yes.
If the answer is yes, then that job is not important. Now, this is really a simple idea, right? I mean, it could be something way more complicated than that. And you really might have to really think about it. Wait a minute, if I take that job away, is anything in the goal going to suffer? Is it still going to accomplish the mission the way I see it? And if the answer is, the mission is still going to be accomplished without that job, then that job is a non-essential job, and it's a waste of time and human capital, right? Resources, okay? So, the one thing you're dealing with here is a volunteer organization. The hardest kind of leader to be is a leader of a volunteer organization. Why? Well, it's not only that they're not getting paid. That's the one thing you have control of as even a crappy leader when you're working in corporate America, right? Somebody's not doing the job, you fire them and they don't get paid anymore. What's the worst thing you can do to people here? Not much, right? Okay? So this is the hardest kind of leadership there is. Yes?
If they're not performing the way you want, you take the fire. The repercussions of firing them is you being a member, and tasks that they were working on may not have been their forte.
Okay. I agree with that to some extent. The problem is this. The point that we're trying to make is firing them doesn't change their life. So basically, you're doing something to them that they don't really care. Okay? So that doesn't give you any leverage. Unless firing somebody that's got a paying job, you fire them, it changes their life. So you have a lot of leverage. That was the point I was trying to make. Okay? It may. If they're doing a good job, yes, it may. If they're doing a poor job, it's not going to impact the goal negatively, hopefully. Hopefully you get somebody to replace that person. We're going to talk more about that, but that's a good point. Yes, ma'am?
My point here is, as being a leader, and you're in a bunch of people that are volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a clicky outfit, right?
If the what? I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Clicky.
Clicky, okay, yeah.
Okay, now you got rid of that person, and basically they have a problem,
Okay,
and you fired them.
okay.
Now you stepped on some toes there. What do you do?
We're going to get into that in a
Oh,
little
yeah,
while.
sure.
Yeah, we are. We are going to get into that, okay? Yes. Anybody else? Okay, so let's finish this slide and then we'll get into some of what you're talking about, okay? All right, so make sure all the activities are related to the goal. Now, what is a vision versus a mission? Can anybody tell me a simple way of
Vision is what you see happening, what you see taking place, where you want vision to go in progress. The mission is actually getting it done.
So the mission is getting it done or accomplishing the goal. The vision is visualizing what the result of that goal being accomplished is going to be. Okay? We want to build an American Legion post. That's a goal. That's a mission. We got people working on the mission, get the mission accomplished. But the vision is, what are you really building? It's not just the building. It's the culture. It's what's going to happen after the building is up. It's a safe place for veterans to come and share. It's a place where your community youth can come and play baseball. That's the vision, okay? That's what you're seeing, okay? And it's funny that they call it a vision because that's going to tie into communication in just the next couple of slides. And you'll see what I mean by that, okay? But once you have this vision in your brain as the leader, what do you have to do? You have to constantly keep that top of mind with everybody, okay? And somehow, you have to be able to take what you see in your head and put it in everybody else's head. Almost impossible, okay? So, you have to have the ability to communicate clearly. So, Carmen.
Yes, sir.
I want you to describe your house so that everybody in this room knows what it looks like.
Wow, that's personal, but anyway.
Oh, just the outside. We're not talking about the inside, the bedroom. We don't need to know anything. The house.
What is it? Okay, a little hut on the beach going. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, fireplace, pool.
No,
So if I was driving down the
No,
street,
out of
is your house?
You wouldn't.
Okay, so describe your house so that I can figure it out just by your description, what it would look like if I'm driving down the street.
It's, it's in a cul-de-sac. It's gray in color, and it's between, green and yellow house on the west side.
Okay, what kind of roof does it have?
Shingle.
Okay, is it a peaked roof, a hip roof, what is it?
I guess it's a regular.
Gable roof, okay. How many windows are on the front of it?
2.
Does it have a big front doors, French doors? What kind of door? Are there lights on each side of the door?
No, single door with glass on the side.
With one side of the lights or both sides?
No, I'm sorry, yes, side.
One?
Yes, sir.
One, okay.
And a bench, so when you walk in, if you want to sit up.
There's a bench out there, okay? If you take a long time to answer the door, you might have to sit
Right.
down while you're waiting for them to answer
Yes,
the door.
sir.
Okay, what kind of driveway is it? Is it concrete or is it cab? What is it?
It's concrete. Oh,
Concrete driveway? Do you have any trees in your front yard?
Ted cut them all down.
That doesn't surprise me, okay? Is your lawn in good shape or is it all weeds?
No, good shape.
Beautiful lawn, okay? Is everything edged?
Yes.
Do you have any
Fantastic.
flower beds near the house?
At the entrance.
And what kind of flowers are in there?
I don't know, I just buy them.
Okay, so, does everybody now have a picture of what her house looks like?
Looks like a lot of other ones.
Well, okay, and I'll bet nobody's house in your mind looks like what she has in her mind. And let me tell you why that is, and you probably know this, but when you describe a vision to somebody or describe something to someone, okay, the human language is severely limited in how we can paint pictures. In fact, some of our greatest writers are great because they can actually evoke a feeling and actually help you paint a mental picture in your brain based on how they use words. And still, 5 people can read the same writer's stuff and 5 people can come up with 5 different views. Right? Why? And this is why. I live in a neighborhood where all the houses are worth $1 million. So now, when she's describing her house to me, I'm looking at it as one of the houses in my neighborhood. Okay, yeah, I can see that. That looks like such and such a house. I live in a house in a neighborhood where all the houses are just barely above the poverty line. She's describing her house to me, I can say, okay, yeah, I can see that house. It probably looks like such and such. What is influencing my vision? Say again? My experiences, right? Everyone looks at everything through their own past experiences. And since none of us have had exactly the same past experiences, all of us have a different vision. Now, that's one thing we can maybe build on or not, depending on how close and how long the people in our post have been together, right? Because there's certain things that we can say, and it's because it's based on past experiences, right? If there's a bunch of people that have been here for 10 years and have been through the same past experiences in the post, that makes it easier to perhaps communicate that particular vision. But when I say communicate clearly, Carmen gave me an outline and highlighted the things that were important to her. I'm looking at it as, how am I going to see this house on the street and figure out it's hers? So now I'm trying to dig and get the details, okay? And when we talk about communicate effectively, that is so important that you think about how your words are hitting someone based on what may be their past experience of which you know nothing. Make sense? Okay, so always keep that in mind when you're trying to talk to people. You got to become a student of the organization, its policies and functions. How many people here have been through Legion basic training? Oh, good. There's what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about this. My last class had 45 people. We had 3. This class has 18, and we have 4. Good job. How many people ever heard of Legion basic training? Okay. If you've been through it, you obviously heard of it. So, let me tell you where it's at. mylegion.org. Now, if you're in the auxiliary, somebody told me it's hard to get to if you're in the auxiliary. But if you're in the auxiliary, presumably that's because you have an association with some Legion members. Okay? Go through the class with the Legion members. It takes maybe 4 hours, depending on how fast you read. But there's so much interesting stuff in there about who the American Legion is, how they were established, why they were established, what they're supposed to do, the whole 9 yards. And you should go through that. I recommend everybody that's in a leadership position or going to be in a leadership position, go through American Legion basic training. It's 4 hours of your time. You can do it in 4 days, an hour a day. You can do it in 8 days, a half an hour a day. 16 days, you do the math, okay? 20 minutes a day. Yes.
Repeat it again, what you're saying to look at.
mylegion.org, and it's American Legion basic training. Okay? I think it's 4 hours. It's been a long time since I did it. Okay, she just said to put American Legion basic training in your search engine, it pops up as well. Okay? So go through that. That's number one. Number two, how many people have read the charter for their chapter? About half. Good. Very good. Everybody should at least know what the charter says. It's only one page. It's not going to take a lot of time. It's probably hanging on the wall. You can probably look at it and go, okay, now I know what the charter says. How many people have read their SOPs and standing rules? Okay, a lot more. That's good. That's good. Now you should constantly know what all that says. You don't have to memorize it, but you have to know where it is. So in a leadership position, when something comes up that requires knowledge of those rules, you at least know where to look, right? And you can get to it quickly and handle the situation as it comes about, okay? Skill and patience to identify excellent managers in the organization. Now, part of leadership is what? Being able to delegate. Okay, what else?
Listen.
Listen. Okay? And then what goes along with listening is watching. Okay? So part of leadership is to sit back and watch and listen. And you're going to see, just watch what's getting done by whom, how fast, how well, who's watching who. Okay? Those are the kind of things that are going to be useful to you when you build your organization. Everybody wants to have a successful organization, right? It'd be great if everybody here got chapter of the year. Okay, but how do you do that? You have the right people. I'm sorry? They don't want to be special. Well, yeah, if everybody gets a trophy, right? But the thing is, you want to have a chance of doing that, and the only way to do that is to sit back and watch and observe and take the time and the patience to see who your real good managers are going to be. And then bring those people into your organization. Okay? All right. Humility. So, how many people have worked for a boss that didn't like or wouldn't even include people that knew how to do his job better than he did? A bunch of people, okay? The worst kind of leader in the world. Absolute worst. Picking people that are worse off than he is or she is. Okay? So the thing is this. If you want to be a really great leader, you need to be a really great observer and figure out which people know which parts of your job better than you do. Better than you do. They're going to make you look good. In the end, if you have the top experts in everything, every single situation that you're trying to put together, doing the job, and you're ultimately responsible for the job, who's going to look great? You are, right? So you always want to be humble and realize that you are not the end all. And if you realize that, then you're going to start looking around and find people that are better at certain things than you are. Maybe better at everything than you are. Who knows? Doesn't matter. They didn't get elected. You did. Okay? So they're never a threat to you. They're always a help to you. Always realize that if you die tomorrow, the organization is still going to be here. How it's going to be here is another function of your leadership abilities. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. Okay? Enthusiastic about the goal, the end process, and exemplifies the qualities expected of team members. Obviously, you want to lead by example, and you hope your team members do as you do if you're doing the right thing. Right? Anybody okay with that? Okay. Enthusiastic about the goal. I want to spend a couple of seconds on this. When you're in charge of something, there's always people in the crowd. Hey, we should do blah, 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 blah. And why don't we do zip, zip, zip? And why don't we do zap, zap, zap? I'm all about it. I'd love to do all that stuff. But if we do it, Are you going to be the cheerleader for it? I tell my people at the beginning of each year, I love all of your ideas. I want you to bring me your ideas, but do not bring me an idea unless you're going to be the cheerleader. I don't have enough energy to be the cheerleader for everybody's idea. But if it's your idea, hopefully you have the energy to be the cheerleader for it, because without a cheerleader, an idea is not going anywhere. Okay? So when I say be enthusiastic about the goal or end result of the process, that includes people bringing ideas to you. Okay? Any questions or comments on that? All right. Learning. Remember I said you got to be a student of the organization. Learning and leadership are indispensable to each other. You know, he's the President of the United States. Whether you like him or not, he definitely made it to the highest office in the world, so he must be thinking something, okay? Aside from being a student of the Legion, leaders must continue to learn about themselves and their charges continually to work to improve both. So how do you do that? Well, you're going to see on another slide here a quote from Bob, our first vice commander for the department. And, well, first of all, where would I get a quote from the first vice commander for the department? Where on the website? I'll give you a hint. It has 2 L's in it. Thank you! Who said that? Yeah, Legion Link, okay? Read the Legion Link. It only comes out once a month, but it's going to give you total control of what information is real and what's not, because it's coming right from the horse's mouth, right? And you're going to pick up little ditties like the one we're going to see on the slide here from Bob Matson from his last one or the month before, I don't know, probably December. Okay? But read those things. Peer-to-peer learning groups with other leaders. So I was out of the military for almost 40 years before I joined the American Legion. Almost 40 years. I knew nothing about the American Legion. Nothing. Except that in my part of town, I knew there were a lot of veterans, and I knew there were a lot of people that rode motorcycles, and I knew that there was nobody for them. So I called my local Legion, and the commander got on the phone, and she said, "How can I help you?" I said, "I'd like to join your Legion Riders." "We don't have a Legion Riders." "Do you want one?" was my question, which was stupid. "Well, I guess. I'll get back to you." Then I said, "Wait a minute now. Let me look at this Legion thing. Now, what does it take to get in the Legion?" Well, two of the people that I knew I wanted in my group that I had ridden with forever and that had this great idea that we were going to get into the Legion Riders, neither one of them qualified as a Legionnaire, but they both had military dads. So I called the commander again. I said, "I have two friends that want to join the Sons of the American Legion, but we don't have a Sons chapter, a Sons squadron." I'm like, "Do you want one?" "I'll get back to you." Now, talk about peer-to-peer learning group. How many people knew Dale Fish? How about Railroad from Post 250? Both of them are dead now, but they were both instrumental in helping me on a daily basis for the first 4 months while I was trying to put together our chapter. Okay? Use the groups around you. I went around to all the different chapters, probably 7 or 8 meetings I attended before we had our very first meeting, just so I knew what a meeting looked like. Okay? Use the resources you have around you. Talk to the other leaders. Railroad was amazing. I mean, I called him up probably 2 or 3 times a day, every day. What do we do about this? How do we do that? Where does this come from? Who knows about that? The resources are out there. You have them right around you. Don't waste them. Use them. Okay? Peer-to-peer. Okay? Commit to continuous improvement and reflection. Remember that you're not perfect. I know, I mean, I am. But I mean, the rest of you probably aren't. Okay? So every day, you should kind of step back a little bit and see what you can do a little bit better. And then you're not going to make a huge change in a day, but if you make a little change every day, eventually it'll be a big change, right? And encourage feedback from your people. A lot of times they're going to tell you things you don't want to hear. And you're a real butt wipe when it comes to a meeting. I didn't really want to hear that, but guess what? At least I know how they feel. Well, what can I do differently? And if they won't tell me, I'm going to try and figure it out myself, right? So that's what we're talking about. Constant improvement, constant learning, constant thinking about how you can get better. Now, remember we talked about trying to find the managers and the people in your organization that knew more about a specific thing than you did, right? Okay, here's Ronald Reagan. Surround yourself with the best people you can find, delegate authority, and don't interfere as long as the policy you've decided upon is being carried out.
Don't micromanage.
Don't micromanage, but even further than that. How many people can tell, who can tell me what the definition of frustration is? I'm sorry? Frustration. What's the definition of frustration? Let me help you out. The way things are versus how you want them to be. Right? Pretty simple definition, right? The way things are versus the way you want them to be. If it's not the way you want it to be, you're going to be frustrated, right? Okay. However, that does not give you an excuse to say the only way to do things is my way. Would you agree that there's more than one or two or three or even four ways to do the same job and still get the same result, okay? So what's Ronald Reagan saying here? If the policy you've decided upon is being carried out, don't interfere. And who cares? Hey, I would have done it this way. We don't care the way you would have done it. We're still going to get to the end goal. If the goal is going to be what you want, let your people go. Let them do it. Give them the power. Empower them to be able to figure out how to do the job as long as it's going to get done to the specifications you laid out in the goal. And as long as it's not illegal. I mean, obviously, you have to have some constraints on what they do. I mean, you can't have people stealing and raping and pillaging. You've got to do a little bit. Okay. There's ultimately leadership within the American Legion is not about authority, but about service. So remember, as a leader, it's not about you. It's about the people that you're leading. You're there to serve them. Holding oneself to a higher standard means leading by example, demonstrating respect, compassion, and a steadfast commitment to the ideals of the Legion. In doing so, leaders preserve the honor of the organization and ensure its continued strength for generations to come. That's our first Vice Commander, Bob Matheson. And I pulled that right out of the Legion. Okay? Make sure you read those. The very best leaders always continue learning, honing their leadership skills by reflecting on their leadership and learning from mistakes and continuously refining their skills. Look, there's no such thing that people, oh, he's a born leader. That's crap. Some people are endowed with more of the qualities that it takes to be a good leader than others, just by virtue of their upbringing and their nature. But nobody is a born leader. It just doesn't happen. You have to work on being a good leader. I mean, there's people that are born, that are made leaders, that shouldn't be leaders, okay? Not necessarily a born leader, okay? You have to constantly be upgrading yourself, leveling up, and learning from your mistakes. And you're going to make mistakes, there's no question about it. Nobody's going to fault you for making a mistake. Well, some people are going to try. The bottom line is, you made a mistake. Now, how do you remedy that mistake? And how do you change things so that mistake doesn't happen again? Right? As long as you do that, nobody can say anything about you. Okay? Because people are human and people make mistakes. Okay? All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of the hierarchy of how the Legion is put together, and then we're going to talk about some other things the things that you all love, like drama in your chapter and stuff. Okay? All right, so as you know, Jessica Moore is our department commander. Jim Wiley, up until the end of this year, is the department chairman. Post commander. This is what the post commander does. Establishes the goals and direction of the culture. I want to be the friendliest post on the East Coast. Great. How are you going to do that? And that's what the department commander does. He creates the vision, keeps everybody focused on it, provides inspiration, supervises and leads officers, appoints committees, controls agenda, and conducts meetings. Now, appointing a committee. Whenever there's something that has multiple facets to it, that's not essential to keeping your post going, but it is something that your post wants to accomplish, I recommend you appoint a committee. If you try and do everything, you're going to end up doing nothing, or at least not doing anything very well. Utilize your human capital to invest in each project, right? Okay, does that make sense? Anybody got any questions about that? Oh, one thing I want to go back to. Controls the agenda. How many people have been in a chapter meeting that lasted 2 hours? Ugh. How about 3 hours?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Folks, look at this group. Most of us have either no hair or white hair, but the main thing is we have bladders that are about that big. Don't keep your people in a meeting for 2 hours. Please, please. You should be able to get your meeting done in 45 minutes to an hour, tops. And if it's not possible to do that and get over all the important stuff, you're doing something not correct. And one of those is dealing with the agenda. The agenda is something that you, as the chapter director, put together before the meeting, hopefully 2 or 3 days before the meeting, that you've been able to circulate with your officers. And you've also trained your membership that if they want to talk about something in the general meeting, to get it to you to put on the agenda a couple of days before the meeting. Okay? And this is how the conversation is going to be. If you have something that you want on the agenda for next month's meeting, please get with me 3 or 4 days before the meeting so we can fit it into the agenda. And it's not going to be an email. Hey, I want to talk about this at the meeting. Why not? Because then you're going back and forth with email and you're not going to get what you want. It's got to be an in-person contact, either face-to-face or on the phone. Hello, Director. This is Joe Schmuckatali. I want to talk about XYZ ride. Okay, Joe Schmuckatali. What specifically do you need the membership's help with on this ride? Very good. I will allocate 3 minutes on the agenda for this topic. Now, what does that do? Joe Schmuckatali better have his ducks in a row, better have everything written down, and have gone through it a couple of times to make sure he can get through it in 3 minutes. Because after 3 minutes, you're done. You're not taking over my meeting, okay, or our meeting, the general membership meeting, okay? And if you can keep that kind of thing going, and if you have enough time and patience, get the agenda out to all of your members prior to the meeting. They're going to know what's coming. Things are going to move along smoothly, okay? So keep control of the agenda. That's important. All right. Inspire. How do you inspire your people to do what you want them to do? Number one, first thing you want to do is you want to instill pride in the post. You got to be a cheerleader. You got to create optimism. You can't be a downer, okay? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to remember constantly, this is for you and for every member of your chapter, that your mission is in the chapter. Let me say that again. Your mission is in the chapter. What do I mean by that? Oh, well, Nationals doing blah, blah, blah. We don't care. They have a different mission than we do. The Department is doing blah, blah, blah. We don't care. Their mission is not the same as ours. Our mission is to take care of our veterans and our children and youth in our community. That is our mission. If you stay focused on that mission, number one, you're going to be great. And number two, everybody's going to be happier because they're not going to be distracted and pissed off about the stuff that they maybe understand or maybe don't understand that's happening at a level that has nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with it. Okay? Now people, oh, well, you know, they raise our dues. That has something to do with us. Okay, get over it. There's nobody, I don't care how poor you are, that can't afford $50 a year. Okay? I mean, if they raise our dues to $75 a year, you can still afford that. You piddle that much away. How many people, your Starbucks coffee, a pack of smokes. What's a pack of smokes cost these days? Who smokes around here? What's a box of the shit you got in your mouth cost? That's a roll with a whole
whole roll?
Yeah. $20. How many of those go through a week?
About 3 cans.
3 cans a week, so how many cans in a roll? 5 cans in a roll? Okay, so you're going through almost a roll a week. There's $20 a week. In a month, you pay $80. Right? Or maybe 5 weeks, you pay $80. Don't tell me you can't afford whatever the legion dues go to keep you in the legion. Okay? So that's not an excuse to be pissed off at National. Okay? You can be pissed off because they're wasting your money. That's fine. But don't let it consume you. Your mission is in the chapter. That's where your mission is. And in your community, for your veterans, for your children and youth in your community. That's what your mission is. And if you stay focused on that, I guarantee you, you'll be happier and you'll have a better chapter. A much better chapter, okay? So inspire people and create optimism. You always have to be optimistic. These pessimistic people, especially pessimistic leaders, are cancer for the organization, okay? Establish a comfortable, respectful, and inclusive environment. If somebody brings something up and you don't think it's, worth your time, don't rain on that parade. Try to figure out a nice way to be able to get with it at a later time. Because if they brought it up, it's important to them, right? Look, I appreciate you bringing that up. Unfortunately, we don't have time for it during the meeting, but I'd be very happy to meet with you in private after the meeting.
How do you handle when you ask for the good of the poster, good of the chapter, and then they start trying to bring it up, and then everybody goes sideways and
They try to bring what up? What are they?
whatever it is, they don't wait.
Oh,
for it.
okay, you're talking about something a little bit different. I'm talking about somebody that brought something up that was kind of, it was important to them, but it's not really important to the organization, okay? Once you've addressed it, and if they try and bring it up, I think, for the good of the Legion later on, which is actually where they should have brought it up in the first place, because there's no other place in the agenda for them to say that, right? But once you've addressed it, we've already covered that, and I'll be very happy to meet with you after the meeting. Move on. Just go to the next person, and you can simply do that by taking your eyes off that person and moving to the next person, okay? You don't have to go, or stop, or no, I don't want to talk. Just, okay, thank you again for bringing that up. I told you we'd get together after the meeting, and I promise you we will. Fred, what did you have in your mind? There's nothing, again, you have to respect people and try and keep people in a situation where even though you don't think it's important, or maybe nobody else in the room thinks it's important, the person that brought it up thinks it's important. So, and it may be, maybe you just didn't understand what they were talking about at the meeting, and then when you sit down with them in person, one-on-one, you say, well, this really is a big problem. We have to put this on the agenda for the next meeting. Right? Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Establish comfortable, foster honesty, transparency throughout the post and its members. No drama or gossip. As a leader, if you would take nothing from this class, I want you to take this next thing I'm about to say and just make it part of your whole being. You as a leader cannot, someone told me to say it 3 times, cannot participate in the drama. You can't participate in drama. Let me give you an example. Hey, Mr. Director, so on and so forth, No, he didn't do that. This is my answer, okay? You can't say grow up. Don't do that. I promise you the results will not be good, okay? Even though that's what needs to happen, and that's what you want to say, don't say it, okay? Try something like this. What it seems here is that we have an issue between the two of you. And I know you're both talented adults that can work this out if you really try. So please, take some time, get together, work this out, and get back to me with the resolution. The second you participate in the drama, what do you have to do? There's one thing you have to do. What is it? Take sides. You can't do that. You're always going to lose. Once you take, there's no way out of that. Okay? It is a fatal flaw. Fatal. Okay? A fatal faux pas. You cannot do that. So you can't participate in the gossip. You can't participate in the drama. Ever. Not even a little bit. Not even when you're not in the meeting. Not even when you're at the bar having a couple of beers. You can't be involved in it. And if you hear the gossip going on while you're sitting at the bar listening to somebody else, you got to say, look, guys, this is not the place for that. Why are you having our dirty laundry out here in public? You know, why don't you guys get together and figure out a way to resolve this issue? Right? You're not taking sides still. You're just making it where it has to be. It's got to be in private between the individuals involved. Does anybody have any questions on that? I mean, this is a big one. This will destroy your whole organization if you let it get out of hand. Okay? You've got to nip the... And you just have to tell people, look, we don't have any place for drama in here. We're not going to tolerate it. You're always going to have somebody that wants to stir the pot. Okay? You know the ones that I'm talking about. They're not happy unless somebody's got something to say about something, okay? You need to do your best to stay out. Otherwise, your effective leadership is gone. You're completely ineffective, okay? Demonstrate a never give up attitude and always show appreciation. You know, you got to remember, members voted you in as whatever leader you are. It's chaplain, assistant director, the director, whatever. They voted you in. Okay, that means they had some confidence in you. But they also, for their confidence, expected you to deliver. Okay? And you, as the director, are expecting all these people to deliver. So you need to show them appreciation whenever you can. And make sure it's honest and sincere. Don't just say thank you so much that it doesn't mean anything anymore. Right? Okay. Moving right along. Post commander. You can put in chapter director, you can put in auxiliary president, you can put in sons commander, whatever you want to put in there. The capo tutti capo, that's what they say in the mafia, okay? Capo is the boss of all bosses. Capo tutti capo, okay? Whoever the top dog is, knows how to conduct the meetings, right? Uses an agenda. And remember we talked about using the agenda. Try to get it out a little ahead of time. That helps you control it. Guides the officers and committee chairs. Now, the director is the ex officio member of every single committee in the chapter. Did you guys know that? If there's a committee in your chapter, the director, or in this case the commander, is automatically an ex officio member of that. It's just the way it works. Because if anything goes sideways, where does the blame go? The commander or the director, right? Or the president. That's where it is. Okay? So you're the ex officio member of every single committee meeting. Does that mean you have to be in every committee meeting?
No.
No. But you should show up once in a while to some of them, okay? Not because you want to make sure they're doing their job, but you want to make sure that they know that you care that they're doing their job. Okay? That's what you want to do. And you want to make sure that the committees are doing committee business in the committee. How many people have been through this situation? Probably you with those 3-hour meetings that you guys had. Okay? Hey, we're going to do a ride next month. We're going to stop at so on and so forth. We're going to stop at this guy's house. We're going to stop over here. We're going to put baskets together. There's going to be this in the basket. We're going to have raffle tickets. So on and so forth is going down to the raffle ticket salesman and buying the raffle tickets. Look, all of that stuff is important to get that job done. But let's face it, it's not the mission of the chapter, right? It's one of the jobs that's necessary to get the mission done, but it's its own entity, right? All that stuff has to be talked about, but not in the general meeting. That's what the committee is about, because all they're doing is...
Who, when, where, why, how.
Well, let me give you a little even quicker way to get through these things, these committee reports, okay? If you invite your committee chair people to your executive meeting, the executive board meeting, or whatever you have for your chapter, where just the leadership gets together, or you tell your committee members ahead of time, this is what I want from you when it comes time to report on your committee. I want to know how far we are through the job. I want to know when it's going to be complete. I want to know if you need additional help. Period. And if there's time, I also, never mind if there's time, and if it's appropriate, I want you to thank certain people in the general meeting that you need to thank. Okay? That's it. Those 4 things. How long is it going to take? maximum 3 minutes. Everything on your agenda is going to be 3 to 5 minutes at the outside. Most things are going to take less than that, but 3 minutes. Yes, our ride's coming up. It's going to be on April 22nd. We're going to leave at 10:30 in the morning. I'd like to thank so on and so forth, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth for their help with our committee in getting this done. Thank you very much. Next committee. That didn't even take a minute, right? But let everybody in the general membership know that that job was being done, that the committee had it in hand. They let them know when it was, and they also were able to appreciate some of the people that helped get the committee's job done, right? You see what I'm saying? If you can create an atmosphere where you're appreciating the people and allowing them to appreciate each other, and you give them an expectation of how they are to conduct themselves when they're speaking to you and the general membership, you're not going to have really any problems. You're really not. There's some people that talk just because they like the sound of their own voice. Okay? Like me. Okay? Okay? But the thing is, there's a time and place for that. Obviously, if you're lecturing, you have to kind of like the sound of your own voice. If you're in the middle of a meeting, that's not the time to do it. And the meeting is not for the director. It's not where the director is supposed to do most of the talking. The director moves the meeting along. That's what the director does. Okay? The meeting is for the reports from the officers and the committees, and any concerns for the good of the chapter at the end. That's it. If you do that, you're never going to have a meeting that lasts over an hour. I promise you. Never. And if you do, record it for me and send it to me, and I'll show you what went wrong. Okay. The most important thing out of anything a leader can do is train your replacement. And when do you start doing that? When? The second you become whatever that position is. Okay? Let's face it, folks. Nobody is indispensable. If you fell off a bridge tomorrow and you're the chapter director, guess what? Your chapter is still going to go. Depending on whether or not you train somebody to replace you will determine how well that transition happens. They could be in a tailspin for a while before the wheels hit the ground, or they may not have to land at all if you had that person right up to snuff and ready to replace you at any moment in time. Okay? And that's not why you train your replacement, just because something can happen to you, slip in the bathtub or whatever. The reason you train your replacement is, number one, so you have good people replacing you. Number two, if you're constantly training your replacements, guess what else it does? It lets everybody know that there could be a place for them in leadership if they want it. And the final thing that it does, if you're always training your replacements, is it makes sure we don't end up with a dynasty. Anybody know what I mean by dynasty? Yeah, that guy was the director back in 1992, I think is when he was first voted in. He's still the director. He has no teeth, but he's still the director. Yeah. And that guy's the same assistant director. That's a dynasty. That's a death knell for your chapter. You can't survive that forever. Yes, ma'am.
What you were saying, finding your replacement.
You just did a Bible.
You do what? Stop it. Stop it. Okay. This lady here has something she wants to say. Go ahead.
I just wanted to give you guys an example of if you don't train your replacement. I'm the director at Post 359 in Fort St. John, Florida. A few years ago, our director, he was voted in and everything, and he did not train a replacement. He was killed on his motorcycle. So we lost our way for a little bit. So, training replacement.
Yeah, but like I said, aside from having a dynasty be a bad thing for your post and your chapter and your unit, it's a bad thing for you. You know, I mean, being a leader takes a lot of energy. And all the people you lead are constantly looking for ways to suck that energy out of you. And if you stay in that spot for too long, eventually you don't have enough to keep going. And the whole atmosphere changes. Okay? So, train your replacement right away. Participate in community and civic functions and ensure leisure programs are implemented. All right. So here's what we look like in the department. Jim, right now, is going to be Scooby starting out in the spring, I think. He supervises the committee of the American Legion Riders program at the Department of Florida. He also sets the agenda for the 3 scheduled meetings of the committee, monitors all the areas, districts, and chapters, makes sure the functions are participated in by the American Legion chapters are within the guidelines set forth by the Department of Florida and the national organization, okay? Monitors to ensure the good name of the American Legion is not tarnished, and monitors to ensure the motto, Legion Family First, Rider Second, okay? Look, I'm not naive. I know there are some people in the Riders that join the Legion so that they can be a rider. Okay, I know that. I'm not stupid, but that's not the way it has to be. The Riders, the American Legion is not a program of the American Legion Riders. Okay? The Riders is a program of the American Legion. All right? So you're always going to be Legion first, auxiliary first, squadron first. All right? That's what you are. And as a member of the squadron, the unit, the Legion, you're also a rider. And the nice thing about the riders is all 3 get to be together, right? Okay, so, and then you monitor and ensure the necessary reports to the Department Command, Department Executive Committee are submitted promptly. Below the department chair are the area chairs, and basically that's still a department position. If something were to happen in gym tomorrow, one of the area commanders would step in and take care of this job, okay? They take care of the department chair if they're gone or totally gone. Make reports to the chairman and the department convention and fall membership. They monitor all chapters, making sure they follow the rules and procedures. Responsible for ensuring the administration and operation safety of the chapters. Visit the ALR chapters within their area regularly. I don't think that really happens much, but it should. And provide advice and assistance to posts with your area that wish to start an American Legion Rider. Now remember, there are in each one of your districts a segment of your district leadership that's charged with helping start new ALR chapters. If you know that there's a post close to you that doesn't have an ALR chapter, encourage them to start a chapter. Okay? And then represent the chapter within the area at all committee meetings. Okay, that's the chair. Under the chair, you have the district chairs, and the district chairs, the main function of the district chairs is number 1, to get all the information from the department down to the posts. Okay? That's the main function. The other thing is to make sure that they report all their reports to the appropriate entities at the appropriate time. I think there's 3 meetings a year they're supposed to report to. And then to visit the chapters regularly and also make sure that they keep a district calendar so that you're not scheduling events on top of each other. Whenever you do that, you're dividing your take. If you have an event on Saturday, the first Saturday of the month, and one on the second Saturday of the month, they're both going to draw donations for that event. If you have them both on the first Saturday, half the people are going to go to the one, half the people are going to go to the other, because your donation is in half. Aside from the fact that the people in the one might have wanted to be in the other as well, but they had to pick one or the other. So that's one of the things that the district chair is responsible for. And then the most important out of the entire hierarchy is the chapter director. They're the ones that, without them, there is no American Legion Riders, right? They're the ones that are with the riders, okay? Your chapter, remember, your mission is in your chapter for your veterans and your children and youth in your community, okay? So that's what your mission is. Coordinates with all the other officers in the chapter and also submits reports to the Legion. So let's talk about hours. There's a class that you're going to take here that has to do with hours and miles, all right? Legion members, squadron members, report your hours for ALR. You're done. Don't go back to the Legion adjutant or the squadron adjutant and say, here's my hours, and report them again. Auxiliary is different. There's no other way for the auxiliary to capture those hours. You see that the director submits all that stuff to the adjutant at the end of the year for the Legion CPR report. So all those things are captured already. There is no way to do that for the auxiliary. We don't submit a report for the auxiliary. So, if the auxiliary is not getting your hours, they're disappearing. So you report those to your director, yes, but then you also report them to your auxiliary secretary. I think it's a secretary. Okay? And then you submit the reports required by the post, which is the thing for their CPR report at the end. The director obviously puts together the vision from each chapter, the most involved chapter, the safest chapter, whatever. Make sure that communications are among all the officers, coordinate all the events with the district, disseminate the information from the district. Let me give you a little thing here. What you might want to do in your chapter is if you as a chapter director, or if your chapter director is not necessarily very good at disseminating information or collecting information, getting it out to the group. Remember what I said earlier, right? It could be people that are better at you than you are, better at that particular job than you are. And that person might be the adjutant, okay? So if that's the case, make sure you let your chairman, your district chairman know, communicate the information with my adjutant. And that way it'll get out to the chapter, okay? Represent the chapter to the post, the community, the district, have the chapter grow, and create fun meetings. Create fun meetings are for the chapter, not the director, and always encourage, thank, and reward. Responsible for knowing, understanding the mission, obviously. Some of these are just pretty obvious things. And the assistant could be the director if the director's not there. But the key thing that we want the assistant to do is really be the manager, right? If you have 3 or 4 committees out, yes, I said that the director is ex officio member of every committee under their command, right? But let the assistant director, number one, it's going to help train them, right? But let the assistant director be the manager for all of those committees. Make sure that committees report to the assistant director. And that'll keep the assistant director is going to make sure that the director's in the loop at all times, right? The bigger your organization is and the more you're doing, the less you personally can do, right? Who said delegate authority? Who is that? Right there, right there, right there. This is what it's all about. Okay? The adjutant, look, there's one thing that we're required to do. One thing. One thing. Legal paperwork. What is it? The minutes. Every time you have a meeting, you have to have minutes, okay? You operate as a pseudo corporation underneath the Legion. The only thing that you need to have always is minutes showing that you had a meeting and this is what was discussed at the meeting, okay? Everything else is just fluff and stuff. You can post your minutes online. I would not post your financials online. It's not that we're hiding anything, but most of our websites are unsecure websites and anybody and his uncle can get on the website. And we don't need some nosy-body newspaper person deciding that, hey, look at all the money that they're making without telling the other side of the story. Look at how much they gave away, right? Okay. Keep the chapter members up to date and good standing with their primary Legion family organizations. So that's a really important thing, especially this time of the year. The adjutant should know whether or not your Legion dues have been paid. Because they're supposed to know at this time of the year, let me see your new Legion card. If you don't have a new Legion card, they can't give you a new Riders card. Why? The Riders is a program of the Legion, and the Legion family. Okay, so all of those dues have to be paid, and the adjutant is supposed to know that. Okay, and then anything else that the director assigns to it. Chaplain is pretty self-explanatory. Lead prayers, visit people if they're sick and injured. The Sergeant at Arms. A couple of things about the Sergeant at Arms. You're going to learn this when you go to the Sergeant at Arms class. I just want to really emphasize it here. When we're doing the opening ceremonies and the closing ceremonies, those cannot be interrupted. Cannot. So if somebody's coming in late, that's fine. But you keep those doors closed as a Sergeant at Arms until the opening ceremonies are done. Then you can let the person in late. But don't let them in the middle of the prayer or in the middle of the Pledge of Allegiance or some other thing that's a solemn situation, and then you're letting them disturb that. That's not right, okay? They stay out during those 2 times. The rest of the time they get it out. One other thing, when you come in and leave any room that's a meeting, what should you do? Salute the flag. When you leave, and salute it again when you come back, okay? That's just common courtesy. All right. Road captain leads the rides, make sure everything is safe, and make sure everybody, there's one thing on here, mentally and physically fit to ride. If you see a guy come in there, and he looks like he's been out all night, and still maybe smells like he's been on a bender, that's the road captain's job, to make sure that guy doesn't ride, right? Or if the guy is sneezing up a storm, it looks like he's been sick for a week. You know, they don't have to be drunk to say they're not safe to ride. If they're sick, they can't ride. And if they want to ride on their own and take a chance on killing themselves, that's on them. But don't put them in your group where they can wipe out a bunch of other people too. Okay? That's one of the primary things that the road captain is supposed to do. The other thing is a pre-ride, so they're not making it up as they go along, right? All right, let's review. Leadership is an action. Status quo doesn't need a leader. It just happens, right? So if you want to change something or do something, you need a leader to do it. Leader is a process where the team or individual influences other people. Leaders and managers may, but probably aren't, the same thing. And a leader must be able to recognize great managers and specialists and utilize their skills and inspire their best use. Remember, you're always looking for people that are better at something than you are. They're going to make you look good. So always try and find the best of the best. And leaders manage expectations, managers manage schedules and things. Okay, and also people. Leadership is necessary to identify the goal, right? You got to know what you're shooting for. They have to keep all the stakeholders focused. Now, on a goal that takes an hour, that's not hard. But on a goal that takes a year, a couple of years, 3 years, that is hard. Constantly have to keep people focused on the goal and ensure all the actions are performed. Remember our box duster over here. If you stop that action in your process and the goal would still be met, then that action was not necessary. So you just wasted human capital. The leader inspires passion necessary to overcome obstacles. The leader has the vision, also known as the ultimate gain of accomplishing the goal. So once the goal is accomplished, what do you have? That's what the vision is. And the leader keeps the vision top of mind. All right? The most important of the leadership roles is the chapter director. District chairs help coordinate all the chapters. The area chair provides support to the districts. The department chair represents the riders to the department commander in his office. And a successful organization is generally attributed to the leader. Right? Okay? Leadership in the ALR is a team endeavor. We already know that. Success in the mission is evident by continuous accomplishment of goals. Okay. Anybody here have anything that they want to bring up? George, I can get back to it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, if you are a leader, and then you see there's a party not doing all their pulling for weight, and you want to get rid of that person, you know you're going to step on toes, and it's going to be something free, something, but there's this, that.
Okay, so first of all, one of the things in your premise is that the person's not doing what you think they should do, so therefore we should get rid of them. Not sure that's really a good way of looking at it. Perhaps trying to see where that person might fit better would be a good answer. Okay, if they're doing something and they're not doing it well, it's either one or two things. Either number one, they don't have the talent to do it, or number two, they don't have the desire to do it. So maybe go back to, let's stand back, observe, and see who does what and who does what well. Maybe what you put that person on is not really what they should be doing. Maybe they should be doing something else. Certainly, getting rid of the person is a very, very drastic step, and they have to have done something really wrong to make that your remedy. Okay? There's got to be another way to fix the problem. Go ahead.
The issue was brought up because you mentioned eliminating their job.
Oh, okay, so I was talking about eliminating jobs that are non-essential to the process. Okay? So, because you're wasting time and you're wasting that person's talents and energy as well. So, obviously, if you can get rid of that job and save that human capital and reinvest it someplace else in the whole scheme of things to accomplish the goal, that's fine.
But if there's no
You're always going to be able to make a position. And if they're not hurt, if that's really the case, that there's really no other place to put that person except for dusting boxes, if they're okay doing that, it's not hurting anything, so let them do it. My point was, don't assign somebody a job that's not essential to getting the goal. right? Don't waste human capital, right? Does that answer your question? Okay. Remember, the big thing is, and the thing that takes down more leaders than anything else, is in getting involved in the drama. And you just can't do that. If you had to practice one thing to be a good leader, that would be one of the things I would practice. How do I keep myself from getting sucked into the drama and then sucking all my energy out? And again, once you get involved in the drama, what does that mean? You've done what? Taking the side. You're done. You can't win from that. Once you've taken the side, you're done. You may have taken the long shot, it doesn't matter. You cannot be involved. Treat your people like adults. I can see that there's an issue here. I know both of you are talented, adult individuals. See if you can get together and work this out and get back to me with the resolution you came up with. Anything wrong with that?